Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. Today is special. We just wrapped up doing an interview with Tanya Mock individually, and now we're doing our first ever couples edition. Yeah. And so we've got Tanya and TW, which is always gets confusing because it's T and T, because you both go by T. Yes. Which is hilarious because then it gets really confusing when you're both in the room. And it's like, hey, T. Does that happen a lot?
Yes. Our daughter is T as well.
And goes by that?
Goes by T.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well that's a lot of work.
But nobody reaches out to me, so I know they're not.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Nobody's hollering at you. No, because what are you going to give them?
Nothing.
Nothing. So this is really exciting. I've never done this, so like you guys have to bear with me as well. Like I had to get insight from Lexi because she used to do these all the time with wedding stuff, right? And this is not my world, right? My world is bring somebody in, find out about all the shit they went through so that it could be the person that they are today. So I kind of want to translate that eventually in this conversation to the shit you went through to get to where you are today as well, right? But let's start out with just some fluff in the beginning and tell everybody just kind of how you guys met, because that was the Hooter story and I want to hear the fucking Hooter story.
Oh, y'all got through that story.
Well, we started it and then she said, maybe that'll be for later. So I want to hear the Hooter story.
Do you want to tell the Hooter story? Or do you want me to tell the Hooter story?
I'll make sure everybody understands how I got there.
Okay.
Right.
There you go.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. So
you wanted wings?
No.
Good, because they have garbage wings. Yeah.
No, they do. I wasn't a huge fan. I think I was a huge fan of the iced tea at Hooters. So
yes, he was.
And I didn't know this at the time, but I was building a 21 screen Cinemark theater, 45 South here in Houston, NASA Road 1. So whenever you guys go to Galveston, you're going south, look out to the left, you'll see my big building.
Okay.
Hooters across the street. Well, I'm building this thing, and I think I started going in there like every day or whatever with my guys, superintendents, whatever, and just guys from the team. And one thing led to another. I think Gilbert and I were our assistant super we were just having, it was in today, Friday or something, I think. And it was either Hooters or it was down at the strip club. So, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's fair.
But when you take 200 guys from a job site because you're working them 7 days a week, you're trying to show them a little love, right? They had a free buffet at lunch. It was cheaper for me to go there than it was for me to go to Hooters.
Yes.
But anyway, we're sitting at Hooters, and I think we'd had a little bit to drink, and I gave you a $10 bill with my number on it. Okay, but at the time, I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, you're not saying it right. He's totally missing the good part. So
it sounds really corny.
They had been there for a few hours. Well, I started my shift, and as I was walking by, he was not in my section. They were not in my section. So I was walking by. I was extremely busy. Yeah. He handed me a $10 bill.
Right.
Didn't say anything, just handed me a $10 bill. I took it, put it in my book, went on about my business. I said, thank you. I did. And went on about my business. So fast forward to the end of the night, I was getting off and I walked past by him and he said, hey, do you still have that $10 bill I gave you? I said, yeah, do you want it back?
Do you want to borrow it?
And he said, no, it's got my phone number on it. I said, okay. Now, I looked in my book and I thought, okay, if I made it a whole shift and didn't get rid of this $10 bill, then okay. So sure enough, $10 bill with his phone number is on it. And I said, oh, hey, yeah, I have it. And he said, okay, keep it. You should use it. I said, okay. So I'm standing, I can see him like over across the restaurant when I'm doing my cash out.
Right.
And I looked at him and we made eye contact. And for the first time in my life, I felt like that feeling, that butterflies, the whole thing was happening. Now, side note, I was engaged.
Yeah.
And I was just starting a massive
divorce.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, because I had never even had a conversation with this man.
Right.
Just basically an exchange, and I had never felt that with anybody. Nothing. I had never felt it. So that was it. We talked a little bit. I think I went over after my shift was over, and he had asked me if I was interested in working for the next week at the theater with him, filing his paperwork and cleaning up his office. And
you kind of fast forward a little bit.
I did. I thought that was how it worked, because the next week I worked for you at your...
The week after we met.
Yes.
You sure it was that quick?
I'm sure. I'm 100%.
I want to rewind real quick, just as a man. Mm-hmm. How did you decide on a $10 bill?
Oh, I just reached in there and grabbed one.
Okay.
Because she didn't.
I would have put a lot of thought into that, of like what size bill to give that wouldn't be offensive, you know what I mean?
Oh, we haven't got there? I thought maybe you went.
No.
Oh, no. It gets
a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because of the position that I had at Hooters, I was a calendar girl. I was the head of the promo team. I was very close to my manager. He loved me. And so I just told him, I said, hey, Danny, I'm going to need off for the next week. And it's very hard to do in the service industry like that. And he just looked at me kind of sideways, and I said, I just need off the next week. And he said, okay. So he gave me off, and I went and worked at the theater with T, and I was so nervous. I did the filing. I did do a couple things. I went shopping with him to pick out
Was the purpose just to get to know him better?
I think the purpose was to help. Ultimately,
to help, yeah.
Okay.
And I got to meet Patrick Swayze, because Patrick Swayze was going to be at the opening.
Well, here's the interesting piece of this equation is Patrick Swayze was the money behind New Quest Properties here in Houston.
No shit.
So his money they built a massive real estate empire here.
Oh.
I was very connected to those guys. So she wanted to meet Patrick Swayze. That's where it started.
Caveat. That's I get to meet Patrick Swayze, all good.
And she needed more money, right, for the wedding. All of this other stuff.
Wedding.
No,
seriously, I mean,
look, it's a whole thing, because. So yes, I worked there a week, and I can honestly tell you that week, I remember calling my mom, and I said, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble as a woman in the position that I'm in. I'm in trouble, but I'm also, I was going to go through with everything, with my wedding and all of that good stuff. But so that week we had the opening of the theater. It
was a little bit further past that, but
brought a friend to this, and we went through the whole thing. I got all prettied up, and we went out to dinner afterwards. Him and one of his friends, and me and my friend. We went out to eat and did the whole.
I was actually after her friend.
Yeah, he really,
because she was engaged.
Was beautiful.
So I
was engaged, and she
I
was
wasn't
gorgeous.
Where's that friend now?
She's married. She lives in Kenya, I think.
Yeah, she's a dog.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. She's still gorgeous. Her name is Shannon. Hi, Shannon, if you ever see this, but we're still friends today.
Got it. Okay.
Anyways, and then so fast forward, that week happened. We became closer friends, T and I.
Okay.
And he would come in every day at lunch. I don't think he ate. He would come in and order a glass of tea, and he would leave before I said anything, and he'd always leave $100 bill on the thing.
There you go.
That
there
was.
You go. See, now you're thinking about it.
That was.
I know, it gets better.
Yeah.
It does get better.
Okay, all right.
So then I'm like,
wait, hang on, not to interrupt you. I'm an ugly fat guy, right? I'm ugly.
Totally not.
So I overcompensated with
100%.
Yes. So I just want to lay that out.
I've done that my whole life.
Same. So
totally not ugly and fat, for the record. But he started coming in almost every shift. Well, I knew what I was feeling already. He never would cross that line in any form or fashion. We were just friends.
Yeah.
I worked at Hooters. The gentleman that I was engaged to I think he worked at a toy store, or he DJ'd. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us. But
I didn't kill him.
Good. That was my next question. So thank you. Thank you for answering before I asked.
We didn't have money. We didn't have money at all. Very basic money. Well, T offered to pay the last payment on my wedding dress and send us on our honeymoon. Okay, that was what he was doing. That's what he offered to me and Sean. And Sean was well aware of this relationship. He didn't obviously know how I was feeling, but he knew that I had this friend that I had met that was going to do this, and he was all about it. So we go to my last wedding dress fitting, and I walk in, and on wedding dress fittings, you schedule that shit a whole time in advance.
Right.
And when I went in, and he met me there, when I went in, they said, "I'm sorry, Tanya, but your appointment was canceled."
I didn't do that either.
And I said, "You've got to be kidding me. What do you mean my appointment's canceled?" And she showed me the book, my number named, scratched out, canceled. And she said, "You're going to have to reschedule. The soonest I have available is like a month or two, like down the road." And I said, "That's not going to work. Not going to work for me." And she said, "Well, there's nothing I can do for you." And I said, "Okay." So went outside, told him that my appointment was canceled. I don't know how it was canceled. And I think we ended up going to the beach.
Yeah, that's the day we set out on.
Because that's what friends do.
Yeah, that's what friends do. So we went to the beach.
I think we got Taco Bell because you were upset.
Oh, back to the Taco Bell.
No, seriously. No, we got Taco Bell.
Yeah, I love it.
But that was, we had already done the bougie stuff.
Right.
From dinners or whatever, just being out and about. But no, it was Taco Bell. And I think we just sat on the beach in my Jeep.
Yeah, and I was terrified because on the way back, the Jeep started like.
So let me just get graphic real quick. The Jeep sat on the beach.
Really authentic.
Good.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Fuck. God damn it.
So no, we're not. No, we sat out there in the Jeep all day, let it run idle.
Yeah.
I drove through some water out on the beach, and it shattered the header on the Jeep.
Oh shit.
So it sounded like a damn hoopty going all the way up 40. So you couldn't even talk in the Jeep when we were driving back. That's how bad it was. I was just
scared that we were going to get stranded out there because, of course, I did not divulge that information that we were going to the beach. So
right.
Yeah, that was bad on me, I guess.
We just took off driving, just talking and driving.
So we get back, still called my mom, and I'm like, okay, I'm really in trouble now.
Yeah.
So work continues as usual. We're just friends. And then he started sending me roses to work every day.
As friends do.
No, slow down.
Isn't that what happened?
No.
This is great.
See, this is the first signs of dementia, like coming on. Your memory's kind of lacking. So no, it was shortly after that. I'm in downtown Houston. It was probably 8 o'clock.
Okay, that's valid.
I'm with Mike. Okay. I'm with my lawyer in Tony at the time, and I get this call from her, and she's like, she was working out, and she said, "I need to see you, like right now." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, No, I need to see you in person. We need to talk. So long story short, I leave downtown because I'm sitting here dealing with my massive divorce, writing all of my crap. And so I drive down to Sylvan Beach down here by LaPorte, and we sit on the beach, picked you up at 24-hour, wherever you're working out. We sat there on the beach and just talked about life and where it was all going. And you just got to that awkward place, and I reference this quite a bit, but we got to an awkward place where, somebody got to make a move.
Yeah.
And I just told her, I said, "Look, it's not going to be me." I said, "I'm still married. It's a train wreck. It's about to go into a bigger train wreck.
Right.
You're engaged." I said, "It's on you." I said, "I've already made my decision. I'm gone."
Right.
But you've got to make the jump. And it was like 2 seconds later, she made the jump over the console, and that's how that went down.
Made the jump.
Made the jump.
Literally made the jump.
And then the roses.
And then he started sending roses.
Okay, that did need to be clarified.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make it. It made it sound like that was this older predator, just kind of sitting back here.
Okay, well, that's why, because I hadn't come clean in the situation that I was in. I didn't know how to go through that.
Right.
What choice I needed to make. So there was a time to where I knew that I needed to leave and make that choice because, holy shit, I was falling in love with this guy that I was truly in love with.
Right.
And so I did. I called my mom and I said, "Hey, I have to leave." And so I told Sean I had to leave. My heart's not with you. And my mom met me at our apartment. We got all of my stuff out of my apartment, and I've been with him every day since.
So did we ever find out who canceled the appointment?
No.
Oh, I really thought that was how we were going to end the story.
No, there was that. But
Just
I'm a
bunch
true
of
believer in everything happens for a reason, though. So
I thought it was
really
going to be
don't
like
know.
he canceled it or something. You know what I mean? Like
No, I actually picked up that wedding dress and I gave it to a friend of mine for a wedding gift because she was getting married. So I never even put it back on. Actually, I gave it to her and she got married in it, and that was it. I mean,
that's crazy.
And then we
and
got
you guys were
together.
how old?
I was 22.
You were 23 and I was 30.
Okay.
We're 7 years apart.
There you go. Attaboy.
So my life was moving. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're a different place. Yeah.
Hers is just like mentally taking off.
Yes.
I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm saying that when our worlds collided, it was pretty interesting.
I've always said, like, I remember that time, like in the 20s, whatever. And like, as you're dating and doing all those things, it always seems like, women always at like 25, 26, 27, that's like that age, like where they seem like I gotta go find myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting because like I couldn't imagine being with the person that I was with when I was 21, 22, because you don't realize how much you're going to change.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And even just the mentality of 22, 23 to 30, you know what I mean? Because you're
Massive
in a different
disconnect.
Yeah. Right.
Trust me, we collided a lot.
Yeah.
No, we did.
Just because the sense of urgency was my world was complex.
Right.
Already at 30.
When I was 30, I thought I was done.
Oh, really?
Well, that was when I got sober.
Oh.
So I was in rehab when I was 30, and I was like, who's going to want this fat cokehead? Right.
You just thought it was over. Like, I'm done.
I just thought it was over, but I'm putting those ages together. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just 8 years, 7 years, whatever, but it's such a huge change in your life. You know what I mean? That's all I was getting at. Yeah.
Well, the consistency, not to interrupt you though, but the crazy, and I've asked her this a lot. I've said, am I the same person that I was when we met?
Absolutely not.
No.
Do I think the same way?
You have the same process, yes.
Yeah.
But you're a completely
Different evolution.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it's the same for me.
Driven the same?
Yes, absolutely.
Same desire. That's never changed.
That's never faltered.
Yeah. Do I work too much? Do I balance good?
You did not
No.
for a long time. Now you do. Now you're a lot better at it.
Am I?
Yes. Why are you asking me?
I'm just curious. It's be authentic, right? So
Yeah.
I figured this
is a place to figure this shit out. Yeah.
We're gonna hammer some stuff out right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you like the way I do laundry?
Dr. Eric.
Yes,
Yes.
I like this. Fuck. I'm going to put on my coat and let's go.
You're $19.95 a minute.
Yes. Yes.
Well, so if we're going to be really authentic, then
Yeah.
we're going to go ahead and be really authentic.
Yeah.
So
Are we now?
we got together in October. October was our official get together.
Okay. When you
month.
jumped over the
When I
console.
jumped over
Yeah.
the-
Okay. Got it.
Well, no, it was after when we officially.
your memory slips, baby. It's okay.
No, it's
I got you.
October because I remember it's October. We found out that I was pregnant in November.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we're being very authentic.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I had just gotten out of this
Yeah.
relationship.
Right.
He is going through a massive, ugly divorce. And I get pregnant.
Right.
That lasted an eternity, for the record.
Oh, yeah.
The
Right.
divorce did last an
Yeah.
eternity. He had a beautiful son who had just turned 5,
Right.
which amazing little boy, even at the time, looked at me sideways, but he still has always been amazing, but he grabbed a hold of that situation and I never felt alone, lost, scared, anything. We were just like, okay, we're doing this. And we did. And, fast
crazy.
forward, now we have a beautiful daughter who's almost 21 and,
Right.
Yeah.
We've been together ever since.
Yeah. And I'm on the backstretch of my life. So, I mean, just joke about that. Right? I heard John Travolta say this the other day. His son asked him, his son's 10. And he said, Dad, he said, how does it feel? And he said, what do you mean? He's like, well, how does it feel to be 60? You're old. Like, it's almost over.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And he's
I think
like,
60 is the new 40.
wow. He's like, well, no, yeah, I'm at the back end of my life. I get it. Right. If you're looking at the age.
Yeah. I don't like doing math on that.
No. And that's why I always do that too. It's kind of crazy because, it was interesting to see his response and how he responded to it. So my point to that is your perception, my perception are two different perceptions is what I'm trying to get at.
What was his response?
John's, he just basically said, yes, I've accomplished a lot in my life, and it's been more than I've ever expected, and just kind of went down this. He said, that's not what I'm asking you, Dad. He said, cut the shit. He's like, all I'm asking you is that, do you understand that you're like 62 years old and like it could happen for you at 72, according to statistics in the United States.
Jesus.
So I'm like, man.
I smacked that little fire.
Look, I'm going to say, remember in Arizona last year, we went to this. We went to this
14 years and 72 7 hours.
I literally had a billionaire sit me down and do the math on my life and said, hey, T, based on your sleep pattern, it was like 14 years left.
Yeah, it was 14 years.
Yeah, if it all goes well, I've got 14 years left on this planet.
Could you imagine somebody telling you that?
No.
Yeah, they literally set it down, sleep patterns, how I sleep, everything.
And he's thought about it ever since.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, no. So the sense of urgency, it's weird the way things actuate in my head. So anyway, keep going. You're just an open flower today. Like, keep on flowering.
Keep on flowering.
Okay, so pregnant, have a child, still major divorce going on. No issues whatsoever. I think we lived in a hotel for 6 months.
Did you?
We did.
Live in a hotel first 6 months of our
reason being.
Man, I mean,
not sure where we were going.
Yeah, the divorce was brutal on me. Brutal. And not only that, we were just.
And that didn't bother you?
She was ugly.
No, the hotel.
She was mean.
Oh, no, I meant the
divorce.
Oh, no, look, T didn't sign up for anything that came down that road because after the divorce, although that took about 2 years to get over with, that turned into a custody battle that lasted, right? We got custody of Andre in a jury trial here in Fort Bend County, just south of Houston.
Yeah.
What, a week and a half, 2 weeks? Whatever that was.
Yeah.
Something like
Lasted a long time.
100-year-old courthouse, never had a jury trial that went this way, right? Never had one last this long.
Really?
And I won as a merit of a father, right? But they put her on trial as well. They just continuously beat her up all the time. And I was constantly protecting my family, right? So
we were legally married by this point.
By that point, we were. But my family basically sided with my ex-wife, and they would not acknowledge my daughter. So I basically I wouldn't acknowledge them for the most part, with the exception of my dad. So it was very strange the way that my family kind of alienated me from the situation and treated my family different. But this goes back to my conversations about commitment. Because when I am like an old oak tree, when I'm committed,
right,
like it's over. It won't move. So it was funny the way that it happened with Andre in the custody trial that literally just took forever. We got custody. She sued me every year, like every single year for custody of him again. And look, it came down to money.
It always does.
It just comes down to money. Yeah. And it just turned into this big process. They were always digging into my life financially, and all the way through that entire situation, I never disclosed my financials ever.
Right.
Through the divorce, through the custody ever. I would just basically say, okay, I'll pay you I'll pay you this, our big numbers, right? Just go, if you win, you can, it was just interesting the way that we played that game.
I do want to, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Part of the be authentic part, I will say, when we first moved to Austin, prior to Taylor being born, we went through some tough times financially, to the point to where we were struggling tremendously. And when I say struggling, we had to pay so much in child support at that time. When it came time to buy formula for Taylor, we were actually digging for change in the couch.
No shit.
That's not even being sarcastic. It was real. How are we going to do this? Because if it was one day late, it was
a shit show.
Well, and at that time, Texas is 20% of your gross income.
We were paying like $1,300 a month for one child.
Well, then he was going to private school. Then he was all of the stuff.
Things.
So it was close to $2,000 a month at the time. So this was 2000, 2001, 2002. So you kind of get the idea at that time. So things were really crazy in our life. Meaning, I've got lawyers I'm paying. You know how that goes. It's train wreck.
A struggle.
Yeah, but then it all turned around. Yeah. Give it 6 months and it turned.
Yeah,
it'll pass. Right. So I mean, and then once we finally got that stabilized, and then understanding that lawyers are going to be a part of our life for the foreseeable future. Got it. All right, we're just going to go ahead and budget this all in, and that's how much we're paying. So we just kind of stayed focused on the goal. And literally the goal was protecting him at the time and protecting the family.
Yeah.
So, and at that time he also raced. So he started racing motocross at 5.
What age was that?
He started riding at 5. He started aggressively racing at 11? We were in Conroe.
Raced, yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good until we went to Florida.
Baby.
And, some of the guys in the sport, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart's trainer, got a hold of him.
Yeah.
And changed the way he rides.
Gotcha.
Right. And then he just turned into a monster.
Yeah.
But he never would actuate.
Right.
Right. There were moments of greatness. My point to this is we put millions of dollars behind his career.
Right.
For giving him the opportunity to write his future.
Right.
And that's kind of an interesting dynamic because, we've gotten a lot of backsplit. I was put on trial over him racing. Right. So sit up there and have your ex-wife saying,
right.
but
You're ruining his life.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, it was just one of those things where nobody signs up for it.
No.
We went through
but
all
you
of
guys
that.
were close. You
Andre
and Andre?
and I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Andre and I were very close. We did during the custody trial. We were tested, but that's because you put a child in the middle of.
Because how old was he?
He was probably 8.
7 or we got custody at 9.
He was probably 8. And, he felt obligated to say one thing when it wasn't the truth.
Right.
And it, there was a time, and it broke my heart. I'm not going to lie. We did have that moment that it was an absolute heart-shattering moment for he and I.
Yeah.
And it went for a good couple weeks. And he knew that he had broke my heart. He had lied and, broke my heart. And he felt awful about it. But in that moment, in which I understood as a child, being put in that situation, coming full circle, it made us stronger.
Sure.
It solidified our relationship. I've loved him. I mean, he made me a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny though when we moved to Austin and right before Taylor was born. So her mom used to call me and say, "Hey, when are you going to marry her?" And I said, "I'm not in a hurry. I'm just I just got done with this. Like, y'all need to slow it on down.
Yeah, let me have breakfast.
I'm gonna get to it when I get to it. So y'all are gonna push me straight out the door. Y'all keep this up."
Right.
So everybody in her family kept drilling on
Even
me. Right.
my best friend at the time.
Yeah, like, what are you gonna do? So
Deanna would say, "Hey, when are you doing this?"
Because I was the exact same age when my parents got divorced, and I had to go to court at like 8 years old. Parents got divorced when I was 7. Yeah. So like 7, 8 years old, I had to go to court and kind of go through a lot of the same shit.
Right.
And that I put myself, when you're telling that story, like I literally remember sitting in a courtroom and they're like, that we're going to put Eric on the stand, right? Like it was this whole thing. And like, I had to go back to judges' chambers and I'm like, I'm fucking 8. Yeah. Right? Like you're not prepared to have conversations. Like that's not like that's hard as shit.
Well, but
I think he had to talk to the judge. I don't think he ever went on the stand.
I never did either. I got to go back and.
But understand that Andre had his own lawyers, right? So I mean, it was he knew
that's different. Yeah.
But he also knew as he got through this, he had his own counsel. So his counsel was basically talking to him, saying, "You don't have to do this." And we're like, "Where's this shit coming from?"
Right.
Right. His lawyers are telling him, "Oh, you don't have to go. You don't have to go with your mom if you don't want to, or you don't have to go with your dad, or if you don't have to do all of this."
Gotcha.
Right? You're old enough to make decisions. And I was like, okay. Well, when he figured it all out at 14, he figured out that he could tell his mom that he didn't have to go with her. And he did.
Right.
And I was like, oh, hell, here we go.
There we go.
Like, this woman's going to come after me with a freight train. Yeah,
Right.
27 contempt counts. I mean, we went all the way to the Texas Supreme Court with this. I mean, it was absolutely bananas. So, but to your point, to the earlier question, because you're long-winded, baby, I love you.
I got emotional things.
Yeah, I got you. I'm just playing with you. No, she didn't sign up for this.
Right.
She just didn't sign up. So the luggage that people bring into people's lives collaterally, it's just kind of interesting. I'm grateful that she stuck around.
Best set of luggage I've ever had.
Yeah, I get it. Likewise. I get it.
Got through a lot of flights.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Got through a lot of flights. Well, and that's kind of what I want to transition to as well, because it kind of what we were talking about in our solo podcast, obviously, is, what people are afraid to talk about, like people that are listening and watching, are some of the trials and tribulations and things like that we all go through. And I'd love to hear from you two about how you actually took the action to get through some of the shit that you went through, because I think that people like action steps, right? Yeah. People like action steps. They don't. They get tired of the general broad platitudes that a lot of us, you know, will say on social media and be like, be better and love. You're right. Like, I mean, fucking, yeah, I get it. Right. But you guys took actual steps to make sure that you fixed what was broken at one time, right?
Custody trial actually wasn't.
And I don't mean a custody. I mean, like, yeah.
We can move into us. Yeah. The custody trial actually wasn't a trial and tribulation. It was tough for all of us. That was just tough
for everybody.
And it was just something that we knew we had to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll let you take over on the trials and tribulations.
Well, I'll go at it first. I mean, the trials and tribulations of us, one, me being overseas, and then secondly, you know, where we actually lived here on the lake. Lake Conroe. Okay. Was our house here in Houston.
Okay.
Well, I took it upon myself to go fuck around with a stripper down at Treasures, because we built our first business in Treasures. Got it. So guys come in from Atlanta, and I would literally, Lucent Technologies I'm just going to throw them under the bus, fuckers. So they would come in, but it didn't happen with him. It happened with a trainer, right? So it was funny the way that happened with me, but long story short, yeah, you know, everybody makes mistakes, and I made one, but I remember having to look at her and tell her, right. She already knew, and I was trying to weasel my way out of it, because at that time I was an entitled prick. Right. Like I had built this life, Ferrari driving, blah, 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 blah. I think
we were 5 years into our marriage.
At that time.
Oh, yeah. That was gonna be my question. Yeah.
5 years into our marriage at that time.
But we had also gone through a lot. I had basically gotten to this place where I thought that my life was like everybody owed me something. Right. Right. I was the king. Right. Right. And to Bob Workman's credit, because I think Bob had a lot of influence on me at that time. We were involved in Frankfurt Square in Tulsa. I talked about that before, but he kind of took me and set me straight, because at that time he's like, I thought I'm doing it, man. Ferrari, I got it, man. I live in this bougie ass house on the lake, and we living, right?
Is this the guy that said you were 45 days from being broke?
Oh yeah, that guy.
Okay.
That guy. Yeah. Yep. That guy that changed Walmart, changed the way you and I shop, that guy. So yeah, he set me down and actually in front of everybody and just schooled the shit out of me. But long story short, I knew that something was severely wrong with me. I remember one morning I was driving to work. I was in the Ferrari, right? So I remember seeing this concrete truck. You and I were fighting, because I was now defensive, because I was trying to hide something. Right. I had been wrong. I was lying, you know, blah, 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 blah. Yep. So, and she was getting closer to the truth. Mm-hmm. And I remember the night that she found out the truth, because we were in the Spider, right? So Ferraris are hand stitched. And we were sitting right up here in Willis, Texas, on the off ramp to go back to our house. And I just remember looking at the dash. This is how self-serving I was, right? This is also a moment that taught me a massive lesson, because I was more worried about the dash of the car getting beat to death or ripped up, or the car getting damaged, than I was about her, right? And how she was going to receive it. I just remember in my head, I just want to get her out of the car so she doesn't kill the damn car.
She's going to fuck the car.
She's going to fuck the car up. So I remember, and it's so vivid, but it's being authentic, right? Yeah. And I remember that was a time in my life when it was all about me. Yeah. And then it all transitioned, right? Because you had to damn near lose it all. And mentally for me, I remember walking in and just saying, look, I fucked this completely up. Everything's yours. You make the decision. I'll walk away from everything. Right. And just be that guy, because I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah. She didn't say a word. Really didn't go either way. We just kind of rolled through it. You live on these pins and needles for fucking ever. You're waiting for the shoe to drop. Right. All right. Well, yeah. Let me make sure I keep a bug out bag over here by the door in case she kicks my ass out.
We need the go bag.
But she didn't. We didn't do that. We didn't go down that road. And then we ended up in Louisiana right before I went to Iraq, and was taking over some big issues with Cinemark in a big job over there in Baton Rouge, and ultimately ended up in Iraq at that point. So, and the story kind of went from there. So all the compression that we've gone through, and all of the different things in our life up to that point, I still to this day can look back and look at the look in her eyes. I don't ever want to see her hurt like that again, ever. So,
and that situation just kind of got shoved?
No, it didn't. Okay. From where I was at that moment, all I needed.
You ever get extorted by a stripper?
Oh no, he did. He did.
Is that what happened?
I mean,
they tried, made a good attempt.
Yeah.
All I needed, was I devastated and crushed? Absolutely. But I remember telling him, I just need you to be honest with me. Yeah. If I have a question, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, invasive, no matter what, and I ask it, I just need you to be honest with me. And so he did, and I didn't want to lose him. He's the love of my life.
But is he though?
Yes, he is.
Out being a skag, being a cockroach?
No, he's good. I wasn't going to leave that. I never once said I'm going to leave.
Right.
Not even the moment that we had the conversation, the initial conversation, never once in my head ever did I say, I'm leaving, I'm walking out, I don't want to be with you. So we fought through it, and we went through it, and we got through that. But then you fast forward, and I'm in a different headspace, and then I decided that I was going to be unfaithful. Now,
that was a little more dramatic.
And it was dramatic, but mine lasted longer. And I remember the moment that he found out about my infidelity, and this was probably 5 years after that.
What do you mean?
Or no, 10 years after that.
After
yours.
Stripper.
It was probably,
Yeah, about that.
It was a long time.
It was
a long
2000.
time
It was
after that.
2011.
2010.
11. Yeah.
And the way that I giggle, because the way that he had found out, I was in Houston, and there was a card in my jewelry box.
Let me back this up a little bit. So I bounce out and I bounce back in, right? So I'm
He's
watch
in Iraq,
freak.
yeah.
So I'm going to grab a watch out of there, and there's a false bottom in her jewelry box, and the card falls out. So I'm letting her, and I'm going, now I want to create this opportunity. I usually don't come right back into country. That's dangerous, right? That is dangerous. I decompress. So I just said, hell with it. I got time. I'm coming home, right? So I come home unannounced. I just show up. I don't think you even knew I was coming.
We knew you were there.
Did you? Yeah. I don't know. So I don't recall. But I remember my immediate response was kill everybody. Like just kill everybody. And not physically, but him, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted to make him watch and nasty. I mean,
It
gets ugly.
The authentic part of this.
It wasn't even him that wrote the card.
It wasn't a card for me from him.
It was from another friend.
It was, all he did is he sent me a picture of the card and said, hey, who
it says
is
Merry Christmas, Jay. That's all it said.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say the name.
No. Yeah. We don't need to say that. I don't need to get sued tomorrow.
I was I'm like, holy shit. He is not the kind of person who asks a question unless he knows the answer.
Right.
So now's not the time to lie.
Right.
So I get this picture.
But she didn't respond to me for like 3 or 4 hours.
Because I didn't know what to say. I was like, holy shit, I don't know what that is. But then I'm like, okay, we need to talk. I'm in Houston. We lived in Forney at this time. So it was 5 hours on the road.
A couple minutes from our house that
with
you were
the
at.
kids, with the whole crew.
The crew. Yeah, the team. Yeah.
And I'm having to have this. So I just told him everything. And then I get home and I see that the fucking card's not even mine. It belonged to a friend of mine that she said, here, this is from my ex-husband. Can you keep it? Because I don't want to throw it away. So I'm like, okay. Busted. So and I can honestly tell you, being the one that gets hurt is easier than being the one that did the hurting. So
I'll agree with that.
That's deep.
I mean,
no, it is.
It is truly. I was hurt whenever we went through the situation.
Sure. With
his situation, but I was devastated seeing the look and just going through the motions. But you know what? He never once wanted to walk away. In fact, I think that night
that's
we
not
slept
even the
in
truth.
the same. That's not.
No.
Well, that night we slept in the same bed. I mean, I don't think we.
No, and this is something when you were bringing this up, I said, this is going to be interesting because I've referenced it in other speaking events. It was so fucked up for me in my head. Understand that I work in a business where I have to read shit.
Right.
All of a sudden I didn't trust anything around me. I didn't trust me.
We talked about that a little bit.
And I didn't figure that out for years, right? I didn't figure out it was me that was the problem.
Right.
That I couldn't read. So what I didn't know was happening to me was the underlying current of what happened to us. Now, fast forward. I didn't want to leave, but I wanted to die.
Right.
Understand that. So I didn't want to commit suicide. So I signed up for every fucked up mission, every piece of shit that you can imagine. I put myself in every, blown up, shot up, blown up.
That was the
I mean, it
probably
was
the saving grace, actually, because
it was because I don't mean to use profanity, but
I mean, this is the show not to use it.
No,
Sorry, go on.
Better bring the bottle up.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I found myself in some very interesting, dark places in my head. But in hindsight, it probably saved our marriage, because if I was here, it would have stayed on the surface.
Right.
I had to disconnect from this life, and I had to go think. Right. So I call it me being a little bitch. That was me being a little bitch. I didn't deal with this, but I did hurt us. I hurt our family a lot here in the United States in 11. Like, because I was so emotionally charged, I burned shit down to have her feel the same thing.
Right.
It left massive marks. Right. So to where the point she's sitting outside the airport waiting for me to come down, and they're doing the walk of shame through customs with me. So I come off a Lufthansa flight, and there's 5 TSA agents standing at the end of it. Right. And I just walk by them, and they're like, hey, I see my picture, and they're like, hey, who are you looking for? It's like Tracy Mock. I'm like, oh, I'm that guy. They all surround me. Right. Walk me downstairs. It went fucking great until they touched me, right? And then it just went haywire. But that was the collateral that continued to evolve out of that.
Right.
That was my emotional decisions, right? That were just dumb as a box of rocks. So I guess where I go with this is the collateral was, as I remember, we were on the verge. This would have been what, 13, 14, 15 maybe? 14.
probably 14.
So I'm sitting there with one of the principals of Garda, right? And my time at that time, one of my lawyers in Dubai, we're sitting at the yacht club, and Andy and I won't use their name anyway. So we're all sitting there, and he goes, that guy and that guy, that guy and that guy and that guy. Yeah. So we have these 3 swimmers from Wales, these young swimmers that are
hot chicks.
Yeah, hot chicks, right?
Very hot chicks.
Let me paint this optics. This is how crazy it is. I live on an 88-foot Princess yacht. So if you're at the Dubai Yacht Club and you look out 5 slips, you can look at the Pearl. She's sitting right there. Dubai is like an adult Disneyland.
Yeah.
If I want it, I can touch it.
Right.
That's how this works. I wanted nothing, right? I wanted her, but I didn't know how to fix her. I didn't know how to fix us. So I just poured myself into work.
Right.
And that's all I did is work. So we're sitting there in the other guy, we'll call him guy number 2, says, hey man, these little swimmers over here, they're kind of cute. They're instructors, and we should all go out on the Pearl, tell JoJo to fire up the yacht, and we'll all cruise out here by the Palm and do this thing. And I was like, cool, man. And then we'll say guy number 1, he sits there on the table and he goes, hey mate, your wife is walking through the front door. And I'm like, oh, bullshit. She won't come in the Middle East, unescorted. Right. Here she comes, like dragging all of her shit and everything, like coming through the door. And it's actually the reason I leave it on Facebook. There's a picture of me of JBR, right? It's Dubai, it's Jumeirah Beach, of us sitting on the Pearl looking back at JBR, right? Mm-hmm. That was the time we literally took the yacht. We basically parked that damn thing, and we went through every emotion. We went up, down, talked about this, that, and the other thing. That's how this thing got saved.
Wow.
That's how it all happened. But it was a crazy place in my life at that time, because I was honestly, I had become addicted to my life over there, not the money.
Right.
I became addicted to the risk of death.
Right.
And ultimately I was too much of a coward to do it myself. So
and the escape, so you didn't have to deal with.
I didn't have to deal with it.
Right.
So it's not good leadership.
Right.
That's actually kind of being weak.
Right.
But I felt like that I would hurt this relationship if I stayed. I don't know. It was just, that's the way that I processed it.
A whole shit ton of emotions.
It was just crazy.
I want to hear about the lead up to you leaving and going to Dubai. Like, what was that thought process when you were sitting at home and you're like, I'm going to pack my shit?
Well,
we had been talking about it.
We had talked about it, but
okay.
We had gone through a few years. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
We had gone through a few years after the fact. 2010 was when my infidelity became public. So
was it 10?
It was 10 because 11 is when it went to shit.
No, it was early 11.
Early 11.
Because I came home the Christmas of 10. That's when they tried to get Andre.
Yes.
All right.
So for those years, though, it was very difficult for us, for he and I, because it was the little jabs that there was the trust wasn't,
or the insecurities of trust.
The insecurities, and this is what I was saying earlier, the communication and the trust. If you don't have it, it's difficult. But there was anytime we would argue, no matter what, it would come back up. My infidelity would come back up.
Right.
Not his, it was mine. That was the first up front. So I knew that if we didn't fix it, that it wasn't going to be fixed.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what prompted fine, if you're not coming home, I'm going to go ahead and come to you.
Right.
And we're going to figure this out. And I'm pretty sure in his mind too, it was we were either going to leave Dubai, or I was going to leave Dubai, and we were going to be moving forward in our marriage, or we were going to end things, and that was going to be the end.
Right.
And by the grace of God and the fact that we truly do love each other completely, I left with a newfound life. We found part of our marriage, a next chapter, chapter, starting. And that was kind of where that happened. And then that brought him home to want to focus on, now he was going to start taking the steps to be at home.
Yeah, that started that was probably around 14, because I exited hard in 16.
Right.
Following a few other things. But the reality comes down to it that I was on the fence, and it all came down to trust.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't come down to this. It's going to sound super crazy. I talk about it from time to time. I didn't care about the sex. Mm-hmm. As a man, you're trying to fix things.
Right.
You've got to process it. You got to process all of this crap. Do I condone it? No, I don't. Does she condone it for me? No. But I had to take ownership in it too. Mm-hmm. So how much bullshit can I put her through before it's just the reality of, this woman has literally been by my side, and yes, she made a mistake. And, is everybody looking for perfection? Because at the end of the day, if you're after perfection, you're never going to find it. I can assure you, because I make myself crazy doing it.
Right.
But it also, is it something that people can fix? People say, oh, once the dog digs out, the dog's always going to dig out. Well, cool. Guess here's what's going to happen. If I dig out, you know what I expect her to do? I expect her to clean me out. That's the way it's set up. And if she does it to me, at the end of the day, then ultimately it's already agreed how this is going to go down. But the reality is it has nothing to do with money.
Right.
Has absolutely nothing to do with money. If she doesn't respect me enough, or I don't respect her enough to be honest with her, then we don't need to be together.
Right.
That is just the way it is.
And that's the lesson.
That's the lesson.
Right.
And it took years to get there.
Right.
I know it sounds stupid.
Good, bad, or indifferent. Honesty is.
And it's taken
what it came down to.
But and then fast forward to this year, right? January, as I've evolved since I've been home, right? I've evolved and know she doesn't need to know everything, blah, blah, blah. Well, unfortunately, I've got this little squirrely lawyer, which I love to death, but he's fucking bad shit crazy. I met him in Iraq, right? So you've met Eric.
Yeah.
And he loves me more, by the way.
He does. He'll protect her before he protects me.
He loves me before he loves him.
The problem is he knows a lot of this, right? He knows pieces of my life. And then, T has met some commanders in my life, and you start putting the piece of the puzzle together, and it's not necessarily as it's presented.
Right.
All of a sudden I have to look at the man in the mirror and say, hey, dude, like one of these days something's going to come out.
Right.
And then, honesty is so big in
our world.
Transparency and in our relationship, he started having a problem with himself.
Well, with the chiropractor situation, right before I walked out, the chiropractor situation brought me back to a place that hadn't been in 9 years in my head. And it actually took me back to a place that had everything to do with our daughter. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was just raw. It was all of this crap. She had no idea what the hell I was doing. She had no idea who this guy was. And I was so afraid of her actually knowing who I truly am, and how evil I am or have been in my life. And would she hate me? Would she not like me? Would my kids not like me? Would you not like? I mean, all of a sudden I started worrying about things I never worry about. People are going to care, right? Yeah, they should care. That's the reality. But at the end of the day, it's who I am. So why am I hiding it?
Right.
I mean, it is who I am. Love it or hate it, I can't unfuck it.
Right.
I mean, it's the truth. I mean, and I had to come to terms with that. Yep. And it wasn't the fear of what I've done. It was the fear of how I was going to be perceived. So when we're sitting there that night having this conversation, and And I'm emotional, right? I'm the idiot, which I never am. So she's like, it's going to be okay. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, you just don't get it. So I keep drilling harder. Like, I keep going down these roads and to really make sure she truly understands how deep it got in a lot of different things. And she's like, it's all right. It's truly okay. Like, I understand now why you do what you do. And I understand why you are who you are.
And the only way we find that out is by talking about it.
And communication,
Isn't that funny? Like,
communication keep you from killing the wrong person. It used to be in my life. I'm like, cause I've been miscommunicated, and actually I joke about this too. I'm like, oh, we blew up the wrong house. Somebody gave me the wrong coordinates, but that was the person I thought we were after. Sorry, man.
Right.
Here's your newspaper back. We're going to put the windows back in.
Right.
Gotcha. I'm really sorry about your luck. It's your next door neighbor. I'm gonna go fuck him. So I'll be right back.
Right. It's the same thing.
Same thing. Miscommunication. You end up killing the wrong person. So it's happened, and it goes down those roads where in marriage and in relationships, I don't care what it is, in any relationship, whether it's marriage or if it's not transactional to me.
Right.
It's just not.
We've talked about this a lot.
We have.
Yeah.
And that means so much to me in my world. So for me, I think that's also me evolving.
Right.
That's all. I've just evolved. And
your life changes so significantly when you realize that your relationships aren't transactional anymore.
That's right.
Your life mine did. Once I realized that that's not how I wanted to be.
That's right.
Anymore, because I think that's how we're kind of like grown to, like, that's what we're supposed to do.
Well, I think
when we're younger, right?
I think this makes everything transactional.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I absolutely agree. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about being involved in the right groups of people and the right humans. You know what I mean? Because when you're around the right people, you realize that life isn't and doesn't have to be that. That life doesn't have to be transactional, and it can be real, honest friendships, relationships, whatever it is, whoever it is that you're spending time with. And we talk about this a lot, about like who you surround yourself with, but it's such an important thing. I mean, I'm going to say it again. It's not just who you surround yourself with in business and life, but in your family, just everything.
There's family members I don't want around.
Exactly. 100%. Like I get that. And you have to figure out who those people are.
Yep.
Because there'll be family members that want transactional relationships with you. Oh, fuck, you got some money?
Oh, I got a line of at the door.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, you got some money? Can I have a little bit of it? Does. No, go fucking make your own. But if we want to get to know each other and have a real conversation, you know what I mean? And that's why I want you guys to know, before we start wrapping up here, how appreciative I am of the opportunities that we've had to spend time together. And it hasn't been that long and it hasn't been that much, but I'll speak for me. Every time that we have spent time together or we've hung out and we've got to have conversations, they've been real, they've been authentic, and they've been obviously non-transactional, but I feel like we're friends.
100%.
Right. And
it's funny.
But we have conversations with people all the time, everywhere we go, right? Where that is not the case. Right. And so when that does happen, it's special. Yes. It's special to me.
Not to interrupt you. We were sitting out, we were talking, and when I walked out, your wife and I, and it was funny. I said, we used to live down here in Houston. She goes, well, why'd you leave? Basically. And I said, because of the hurricane. Basically, it was the hike. When everybody, I sat out here and watched people sit up here for 2 days on the freeway. And I said, but don't worry, this is a great place. It's really quiet. And I said, but if there's a hurricane down here and y'all can't, I promise you I'm coming to get you. Right. I'm going to scoop y'all up. Y'all going back to Omaha and everything's good. I said, but no, I said, this area is really, really nice. We're talking about stores and different things. But I'm like, no, that's why we left. Ultimately, it had a lot to do with a lot of things. But I was like, no, it was a damn hurricane. I still remember that to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
What year was that?
This was Rita. It was Rita. It was right after Katrina. Right after Katrina.
Oh, okay.
We left here in 2005. 2005.
We lived
to go, and we moved a lot of places.
Louisiana.
Water didn't come this far north, though.
No, but all the people did. There's 6 million inside the Beltway.
Yeah, it was stupid.
But it was stupid.
Was crazy.
Yeah, so everybody was just log jammed. They couldn't move. No fuel, no nothing. I literally would come back and forth to our house up here on the lake, all the way downtown. We did Neighbors Drilling, Baker Hughes, Smith. I would literally stop and say, hey, man, y'all need something? I'd see guys out here barbecuing on the freeway.
On the freeway.
I would just get off the freeway, drive the country road, get back here, and they'd still be sitting on the freeway.
You just put some shit in my wife's head that I'm going to have to deal with now
No,
for
you're
the
not.
next however many months.
You know, I'm going to tell you right now.
What the fuck did you do? Moved us down to this hurricane bullshit fucking place.
I didn't mean it like that at all.
Before we end though, we should talk about this year because this is the important year for us.
Yeah, let's do that.
So
I don't recall.
We're going to let her.
In 2019, he reproposed to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he asked me to marry him again. Now, we didn't have a wedding
Right.
22 years ago.
You didn't?
Or 20 years ago.
We never had a big wedding.
I don't
We
think
got married at the JP.
Oh.
So this
I don't know
is-
if I knew that. Maybe you told
I
me
don't
that.
think you
But
did.
yeah.
But so we are celebrating this year
Yeah.
on our 20th year wedding anniversary. We're having a wedding. We're getting married. Big shindig.
So awesome.
So that's important.
Yes.
That's a big milestone.
Yes.
And can I say what happened in May?
Yes.
May 31st. I'm going to go ahead and say it anyways. May 31st, I legally adopted Andre. So
Oh, I was,
Yeah.
yes,
that was like the day after I was there.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I think so.
Yes.
So I legally, so all the trials and tribulations with everything you asked,
Yeah.
if we've always had
Yeah.
a close relationship.
Right.
Here we are.
It's all come
22 years later.
full circle.
And it's all come full circle. And
That's
I
amazing.
legally adopted him. And the next big thing, can I say the next big thing?
Yes.
And we're also going to be grandparents.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
I thought she was going to
Big
say she
year.
was pregnant, but no.
Oh, hell no. No. See, that's a whole nother, Lucy would have some explaining to do kind of conversation.
That would be a small train wreck.
I would have
That would be bad.
I loved if that would have been what we scooped on the show today.
So it's a big, our life has been amazing, ups and downs. You can get through anything
Yeah.
if the love is real and the trust and
I love your guys' story.
authenticity.
Yep. I love your guys' story and I love you guys.
Likewise.
So here's how I want to end because Lexi had a good, really cute, fun question written down that I was supposed to sneak in earlier, but I actually love it. And I think it'll be a fun way to end the episode. I want to hear from each of you the one little tick thing that the other person does that you can't, like, you're like, oh, you fucking grind your teeth every time they do it. But only you could love it.
I'll let you go first. I'm going to have to think.
Little quirk you guys do.
A little quirk.
Like some kind of little quirk she does.
She leaves her socks on the ground.
Oh, don't get me started with that. No, I'm kidding. I think the one quirky thing is her damn car. Like I get in it and it looks, it compares to Andre's. Like, you can have somebody come
you
clean
think
it.
it's messy.
Yeah. Every
Messy
time.
cars.
Yeah.
Okay.
I literally work for a living, right? And I will clean my shit out with a whisper.
But this is also from the guy that walks around his house going, and that needs to be fixed, and that needs to be
Thank you.
fixed, and that
Thank
needs
you.
to be fixed.
Thank you very much.
I don't really have a quirk though. I really don't. I don't really. Nothing
You'll
really-
remember on the drive back by yourself, and then you can text it.
Something that would annoy everybody else, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I could love.
Yeah.
Don't, never mind. I can't say that. No. Nope. Yes. Nope. Nope.
can.
Nope.
Let's see. I would say he's not really quirky though.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no. What do you do? He'll take off his shorts and he lays them on the bathtub instead of putting them
We don't use our bathtub. It's jacuzzi tub, right?
Yeah.
instead
It's
of
a
putting
catch-all.
them in the laundry
Yeah.
basket.
It's
great-
to put shit
Yeah,
on.
But I also do the laundry. I also do the dishes. I will.
you will,
Yeah.
but I choose not for you to do that.
That's right.
I fuck those all up on purpose so I don't get asked
No,
to
he's
do it.
wonderful at that. He will wake up and do the dishes, do the laundry, do the everything.
Cut
But
this
to me,
part out
that
so Natalie doesn't see that. Please. Okay, yeah. Fuck.
because I feel like that's my
Yeah.
that's
My clothes on the deal. I'm just going to take the bathtub out then. Well, I got this.
well, I'm okay with that because we already discussed that.
Well, let me tell you the one that I found out about from Natalie.
Uh-huh.
She has like fucking panic attacks and not real panic attacks, but like freaks out because I just grab shit to dry off on after I get out of the shower. Apparently I would take her towel and dry off and then hang it back up. It's a fucking towel, right? I had no idea that was like
A thing.
grinding the shit out of her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like that was like the thing. And she was like, I think I would love you 120% more if you just stop fucking doing that. And I'm like,
quit screwing my towel.
Yeah, I'm like, that's an easy fix. Like,
you know what? I do have one now that you said that. So we can be in bed, all tucked in, watching TV.
Oh yeah, this will happen.
Yeah. I mean, both tucked in. And he'll say, I could really use a Pop-Tart right now. And he just came from the kitchen. And so, of course, I'm like, And he'll sit there. Are you going to go get me a Pop-Tart? I'm like, I'm in my pajamas. He says, oh, I'm naked. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll go get you a damn Pop-Tart.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, that
and clearly,
that's it.
and it's like, and Pop-Tart is very specific.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like it's
brown sugar and maple. Yeah.
Got it.
Maple brown sugar, and he likes all the kinds. Cherry is not his favorite.
Neither is blueberry.
I know. I just
Good to
found
know.
that out. I thought
Good
it was
to know.
cherry for years, and
That's
he's like,
hilarious.
"Why do you buy me cherry all the time?"
Oh my God, I bet you don't anymore.
But you know why I do that? I know we're wrapping this up, but you know why I do that?
Why?
Just to like get under your skin, just to like
Just
because you love me, you like to see me walk away.
Just to see her walk away in her pajamas. Yeah.
Truth comes out. That's why I do it.
Guys, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for sitting here and telling people stuff that, that normally they wouldn't, because I guarantee that someone listening has or is going through the exact same shit that you guys went through. And they're in a moment where they don't see the other end of the tunnel. They don't see the light at the other end. And they're like, how the fuck do I get through this? Has anyone ever been able to do that? Right. And hopefully somebody sees this and hears this and says, it is possible if I put in the time, if I put in the effort, and if I give enough fucks, right? Because you guys decided that you gave enough fucks to make it happen. And I think that's amazing. And like I said, I love you guys. I love you guys for coming down here and spending time with me and my family today. And I can't wait to do it again. So thank you. We're going to end the episode the way that we end every episode. Remember, everybody, be authentic
or get the fuck out. I love saying that.
Yes.
Authentic. Get the fuck down if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.